I have known Joyce for more years than we either admit. We thought about it, and we went back 30 years, and then we thought about it some more, and then we went back a few more years, and we're not that old, so the ages we knew each other before we were born. And I have been so delighted to have Joyce and Patty join us on Sundays, because this is such an incredible gift to us, because they drive over from Santa Cruz, and to make that haul over the hill on a Sunday morning early is just so impressive. And I'm always excited to see them, because I go, they're here, you know? And for the rest of you who don't get that quite, they're here, it's because I know you came down a little bit of the way, and except for our wonderful David, who came all the way from Gilroy, and Laura, who came all the way from way up there, Burlingame, and for all of you who have traveled a distance to get here, we thank you so much for making that decision to come. Well, Joyce, are you ready?
I'm about as ready.
This is it. This is her being ready.
This is you being ready?
Yes.
Yeah, I love your top.
Thank you.
How'd you find a top with Kwanzaa colors? Yeah, I know.
It was in the closet.
Bring it out, baby.
Step that top out of the closet.
I did.
Look at it. It is gorgeous.
I couldn't find a hat.
Oh, you know, looking at that top, it might just fit me. You know.
We'll step back there.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Please welcome Minister Joyce Brown. You know this group, and you know they're loving and kind and sweet and great, and they may heckle.
Yes.
If I just move away from you, I'll give you the phone. Here we go.
All right. I brought paper.
Hey, Joyce.
I'm actually going to use it today. I don't know, I may ad-lib Kwanzaa, you never know. I've been known to write 20 pages and read one sentence. But 1966, when all this started, till to now, that's like 50 years of celebrating something that my research showed me about 18 million people, could be more, participate in African Americans every year. That's quite a participation about something that you don't really hear about unless you know about it or unless you're in a community that talks about it. But yet, it's part of communities. So wherever you're going to have an African American and you can get together with family and friends of all groups, all colors, all beliefs, you can do Kwanzaa. So it is not a separatist. It is not a religion. It is a practice. You can even call it a spiritual practice. But whatever you call it, it is about celebrating life. So in 1966, I was 16, give or take a minute. And I had just come from Mississippi at the age of 12. And so 4 years later, up comes Kwanzaa. I don't know what Kwanzaa is. I knew what it was like to be in Mississippi. I knew what it was like to be living in Santa Barbara, California, where there was no Kwanzaa that I knew of. Down in Los Angeles, yes. So transition and change was happening on its own pace, which is what Kwanzaa is about. You become a part of it, you engage, you share, you give the best you can, you open your heart to receive, but you don't come in with any conditions. That's how I understand it. There are no conditions. If you have conditions, you have it. You want to leave them at the door. So when you come inside, you engage people from your heart, from feeling good, from sharing, from engaging in everything from food to looking at the clothes. You may be wearing your jeans, you may have on a nice robe, you may have on a hat, you may have on colors. Whatever you have on, it's okay. Okay. This is not about fancy dress ball, though it could be. We might give that a go, now that I've got this coat. So, the founding of Kwanzaa was to bring communities together. That was the idea, not to separate. And that's very important to remember. Not to isolate, not to replace what you may have been practicing as any, what you would call a religious practice. It was about celebrating, and I like the words here, it was about celebrating harvest, the end of the year. So whatever the harvest was, you were celebrating it. So there were yams, there was squash, there was beans, there was, depending on where you are, corn, collard greens. We had, I went to a Kwanzaa once, we had some amazing collard greens, I remember that. Cornbread, we were in it. And it was just celebrating and being together and enjoying something that I was still new to and trying to get a hang of it. But I realized it was okay. My just being there was all it took. So what was founded was to bring people together, to help them to be together, to celebrate being together, family, community, and taking a look at what maybe you could contribute to your community to help along the way. Not just for those few days, 7 days, but for the whole 360, how many do we have? 5? That's good to know. I keep waiting for the leap year. There you go. But it was about every day. What could you do in your community to help make a difference? So you're still celebrating Kwanzaa. And you don't need to have somebody pat you on the back and say, thank you for giving. Thank you for bringing some food. Thank you for giving someone a place to stay. It was about community, family, celebrating, and letting it spread out. Not just keeping it in here saying, I'm doing Kwanzaa, fine, go ahead. If that's where you want to put it and just keep it for yourself, that's fine too. Sometimes we need to do that. But when you can let it out, like we're all here right now, that's good too. It's all good. But keep your awareness as to what is your purpose and goal. It's not about to be noticed. It's not about to be special. It's not about to be held above anyone. It is about coming together as a group. That's the idea. So now that I've said all that, I have all this paper. Oh, you're talking glasses. All right. I have several. I'm going to leave that one and come over here. That the whole idea of coming together truly was to bring people together, to have a place to go, to be with people of like feelings. And it didn't matter what your color was. And that's the thing that's really important, or your beliefs, or what part of the world you came from. It's really important to understand, because truly, we are one.
Yes, ma'am.
And the more we remember that, the better we will be to each other and to ourselves. So, each day of Kwanzaa is dedicated to a particular principle. So I'm going to do the English version. You all do not need to be giggling. Unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, thank you, purpose, creativity, and faith. And on each day, one of the candles, okay, there's 7 of them, you light them. 3 green, 3 red, 1 black. The green represents the land, the people. the harvest, where all the food and stuff comes from, where the cattle graze. That's what it represents. Then the red was representing the fight for freedom. It represented the blood. And then the black was representing the people. And this is all coming out of Africa. So you can see why it would say the black candle was representing the black people. And then when you come out of Africa and you come right here, CCL, here we are. Look at our diversity. We are pretty awesome. And yet we are still one. So no matter where you are, again, you can be a part of a celebration of the harvest, of sharing, of coming together to make a difference. So we know that it is not to replace a practice that you have. And that's very important, to know that you can do more, not less, not to have to give up in order to be a part of. I can remember hearing about this fellow named Ron Karanga, and I thought, well, that's an interesting name. You know, because I'm thinking, well, where is he from? What is he doing down there in LA? But I didn't pursue. But I must tell you the truth, by the time I hit 16 to 18, I was deeply into Aretha Franklin. That's what she was my Kwanzaa. I was into it. And then I decided to join and bring in some John Coltrane just to mix it up a bit. You know, that was how I was getting into my celebration of difference and diversity and color and music. And it was all inspiring me to be my best. So we do have Kwanzaa in many ways. This is just my way of looking at it. You can have the diversity, but be in the inspiration. Where's your creativity? Where's your faith? Where's your purpose? Let it come out. Let it be a part of you. Don't let it be back there messing around, talking about I'll get to it tomorrow. I done that one. That don't work. But for me to step forward works really well. So when you're connecting to your community, however you do it, you are in celebration. Kwanzaa is just a lovely name for it. Every time we come over here, we're doing a Kwanzaa. We really do. Every time I walk in that door, someone hugs me. I get more hugs over there than I do, like, even in my imagination. It's amazing. And I'm happy to see you. I look forward to coming over that road, to come here to this celebration. But today, this one is this celebration called Kwanzaa, ending 7 days of participating from within you to the outside of you. Not necessarily from the outside of you to the inside of you. I like to think of starting inside and letting me evolve out. Let me share. Let me give to the best that I can. And I will do my best. And sometimes my best is all I've got. But you can have it. I put no strings on it. These wonderful principles, when you think about how they evolved, of coming together to form a unity of one, of coming together to work for each other, to help to build a community that may have been torn apart. Are we not practicing this around the world right now? We are looking and seeking ways to rebuild what seemed to have slipped away. And sometimes the only thing you have to do is to make a modest donation so someone else can have fresh water. I'm thinking that's Kwanzaa. The community doesn't have to be down the road. It doesn't have to be in this country. That's a limitation. And self-determination encourages you from the inside to know that you can move forward and become someone. Do more. But whatever you do, let it be what is good for you. You're not trying to impress anyone. That don't work either. That runs thin really quick. Because you run out of ways to impress me. Now what are you going to do? What are you going to say to me? How are you going to act to me? You show me you, I can show you me, and then we can work together. Are we not still talking Kwanzaa?
Yes, we are.
All right. So where are we now?
Kwanzaa.
Thank you. So when we work together, are we not, I heard you, you're right. Are we not together in our collective inspirations and aspirations and responsibilities to each other without me having to carry you? Because, you know, I have a saying, it may not go over well, but I'll just say it anyway, you know me by now, that it gets heavy. People always talking about it ain't heavy. I say, yes, it is. It gets heavy. But if you can walk with me. I will just hold your hand. We can lean. We'll sit down and rest. We'll share the water. I'll give you half my sandwich. I may give you the whole doggone thing. But don't expect for me to just carry it and think that that's all I'm supposed to do. Kwanzaa is not about that. We work together. It's called coming together as community and family. Is it not?
Yes.
It's about sharing everything, including economics when you can. Cooperative economics to me means you help people to build.
That's right.
You help them to build. That means that you can go down there and buy a little something from that person. Get that goat milk and butter, get a little cheese, get some grain. Do some business in your own communities. Support them. Now it's called Made in America. It is. People will go to a thing that says Made in America. Okay? Oh, well, I'm still talking Kwanzaa here. I don't know about y'all. A sense of purpose. Setting goals that work, not just for you, but for your community. This is what CCL does all the time. For those of you who have been here, as long as Dottie and I have been together, we won't admit it. I've never seen anything happen that wasn't about doing something that was reaching out for anyone and everyone. I've seen it long time. We'll throw that word in there. Long time. I've felt it. I've been a part of it. Done all that I can do. All of you have done the same. I've seen some wonderful things happen. We're talking Kwanzaa, right? Creativity. Yes. We have an inspired nature within us to share. Creativity doesn't mean that you have to be getting the Academy Award, but if you can get it, I say go for it. I do. You get the Emmy, get the Oscar and all that stuff, go for it. But it also means that you can look inside of yourself and say, you know, for me to design a poster for someone, or for me to design a poster for me, or for me to take some pictures, or for me to help someone paint a wall, for me to do my knitting and do my, whatever you do with your weaving. This is also creativity. It is also coming from inside of you, just flowing, ebbing and flowing. I always like those two words put together. From the inside to the outside. And what I send out will come back to Joyce. I've always noticed that. I send out meanness, I get mean. I send out good, I get good. It is clear. And creativity is the same way. If you're doing creativity because you're thinking, well, I'm going to be creativity, I'm going to be creative, I'm going to be the creativity of the year, fine, you go for that. But that's a lot of pressure. Look how heavy that is. So, we got faith. I got a bunch of that. I have faith. I've always had faith. And we learn this in our life. Faith is a wonderful thing, that you believe in something that has not yet shown itself, but you know it will come. And that is what Kwanzaa is about. You get together to do something that may not be there right now, but you know it's going to come. You believe it's going to come. You put together all the principles towards something. You bring together communities. And you bring together individuals that become the one. We become the one. We start out like that, we become the one. The one becomes this. This is not about power, this is not about punching. This is about the unity. This is, I'm solid. This means I got you covered here. And then if I put up the both of them, now we know we ain't good. So I am like this. So you can have my strength. And so my faith says, I will not turn away from you. If you want to turn away from you, go ahead. But my faith says that we can go together.
That's right.
And if you will walk with me, crawl with me, if you need a stroller, you need a wheelchair, I don't care. Whatever you need to get you there, there's someone through your faith will help you to get there.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you cannot get there if you're sitting there saying, I can't.
That's right.
I can't. I didn't grow up with that one. I didn't grow up with I can't. I grew up with a father who asked me once if I had done all the things I wanted to do because I didn't want to go back to school. Because I was so bored. I had never been bored before, but I was bored. And I said, no, Daddy. And all he said was, well, then. He was done with his Kwanzaa. he had given me the teaching. If you have not achieved everything you wanted, and this was coming from a man who could not go to school after he was, I don't know, he was about 7 or 8 when his grandfather made him go to the fields. So this was a man who loved the fact that I went to school and I would spend time and sit and talk with Daddy. He became my Kwanzaa. He became my inspirations. You all know how I feel about him. This was a man who helped me to get from I don't want to have you done everything you went to do. Kwanzaa says, are you doing the things that you come to do? Are you helping your community in the way that you can? If you are not, then take a look at what are you doing with yourself. Because I can tell you right now, a bag of potatoes, a loaf of bread, you go to Costco, and you get some food. You're going over there to buy some food for you. You know there's a shelter. You know they eat the chicken. You know they eat the bread. You know they drink the milk. You know they like some coffee. Take a bag. Take a bag of something.
That's Kwanzaa.
That's the Kwanzaa. And you do it 365. Or do it when you can. But when you do something, let it come from you, from all the principles, and with the faith that you know it will make a difference in someone's life. That day, when someone eats a meal, they just may not go out and do something that may land them in jail.
Hallelujah, sister.
Give them the faith to know that you got a full stomach. Now you can sit down and rest instead of worrying about how am I going to eat and how are my children going to eat or anything like that. So for me, Kwanzaa is about the process of becoming awake. We have to wake up. We cannot just sit and say, oh, well, someone else will do it. Do what you can. Whether it's a 50 cents in a cup, whether it's a $1, whether you give someone your leftover sandwich because they're hungry and they'll take it, that's all right. That's all right. I've done all those things. Gave my leftover breakfast. They took it and they said, thank you. I said, that's what I got today. I gave the $5. The woman hugged me so hard she hurt my neck. And every time I saw her, she would run and squeeze me and say, no, don't give me anything. And so people were with me said, do you know her? I said, well, yes. And they said, you know her? I said, yes. I wasn't going to deny knowing this lady. What am I going to say? No, I gave her $5 and so she's hugging me. But she says, don't give me any money. So look at the gift. And so, and because I gave her $5, no one else that I saw after that would ask me for money that knew that I knew her. Okay? Look at that. What did that do? Look how that served everyone. So I just wanted to say that Kwanzaa is a very special time of celebration, of coming together, and for us to truly open the heart. Not just your mind. The mind is good. I mean, I like the mind. I'm into it. But I'm also into my heart. Because I found that if you're all mind and you don't have that lovely ingredient called heart with the passion and compassion and the gratitude and the love and the sharing and just feeling good about life, it becomes somewhat, to me, kind of like mechanical. You know, it's kind of like just turning the knob. And the heart is so very different. It is about coming from the heart, being the heart, sharing from the heart. And do that just the best you can. I always say that everything counts. Did you know that every drop of water counts? People would say it's just water. I said, well, true, it is. I said, well, what does it do? That would be my question. What does a drop of water do? It quenches thirst.
It cleans the land.
Feeds the lamb.
Cleans your body,
Cleans your body.
It sustains life.
sustains life.
Sustains life.
Does everything.
It does everything. Without water, we don't. What do we do if we don't have
We
water?
don't exist.
We stop. Things die. We die. The land dies. Everything transforms without water. And so when we don't have a good Kwanzaa, we get the same results. And you wonder why people are out there being upset and hurt and angry that something is so missing in their lives of this nourishment that would help them to feel good about themselves and make a difference. And you can't force it, you can only give. What someone does with the Kwanzaa you give them is up to them. What you do with your Kwanzaa is up to you. So I just wanted to say that to y'all today, that awareness is wonderful. Being locked down hurts us. Strive to be more open, but not to the point to where you hurt you.
Exactly.
So I will end by saying, it can be heavy. Don't carry it. I want to say something before I stop. My sister Vera Lee came to me this morning, and Vera Lee became my friend. We had been estranged for many years. And Vera Lee practiced Kwanzaa. We were at her memorial, and the church is packed full of all the people whose lives she had touched one way or another. And they couldn't wait to come up to me and tell me about Vera Lee. And Vera Lee didn't talk about what she was doing. She just did it. Okay? She had more children who had adopted her as mom than anyone I'd ever met, outside of maybe a whole village, you know, where everybody takes care of the children. So Vera Lee came to me this morning, and she was talking to me, and she said, Joyce, see? I said, yes. I've learned to just answer her straight up like that. She says, you're going to be fine today. I said, okay. She said, just be yourself. I said, okay. She says, you read the papers. Vera is very good with this stuff, I think. She said, you read the papers. I said, yes, Vera Lee. She says, okay, good. Take them with you. I said, I'll take them with me. She says, but be yourself, Joyce C. I said, okay. You know, when Vera Lee told you stuff like that, you listen. I listened. So today, I was myself.
You always are.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't be anything other.
Thank you.
I've often tried to not be Joyce C, and that just throws
No,
me
ma'am.
off. It don't work. I'm standing up here trying to figure out what's gonna come out of me. I just know if I just open my mouth, something's coming out. So, I wanna thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa.
I'm gonna pass your Kwanzaa on today.
I think we both do.